Well, hello there, motherfuckers. Welcome to another retro review. This time it's No Mercy 2005. This pay-per-view was very forgettable. Not really a bad pay-per-view, but like who the fuck is gonna remember this shit? There was nothing spectacular on this show. Just really decent at best. Nothing too awful, but really, there's nothing like really worth going back and watching this show. It was really just a waste of time. We start off with the Legion of Doom, and not the real Legion of Doom versus Eminem. It was Legion of Doom and Christy Hemme defeating Eminem and Molina. And here's the thing. Like I said, not the real Legion of Doom, obviously, because Hawk is dead. But it was Heidenreich. Heidenreich. Now people remember Heidenreich. He's the guy that fucked Michael Cole in the ass. We all remember that great, that unforgettable moment backstage. Michael Cole against the door. You remember that? Oh, I'm sure Michael Cole remembers that. But to all the people that say TV-14. Bring back TV-14 and all this bullshit. Keep in mind that this was TV-14 program. And, before he joined the Legion of Doom, Heidenreich, he was marching around like this with kids in the ring. Does anybody remember this? If you're my age, you definitely remember this. Even if you're younger, you remember this. If you watched wrestling in 2005, you remember Heidenreich stomping around in the ring like a fucking goofball and doing this. This was just, this was mind-blowing at the time. I couldn't even believe how childish it was. But at least guys like Santino don't even do that. Now, I know you had Bros Clay dancing around in the ring with kids, but a guy like Heidenreich, who was feuding with The Undertaker, and this is how they treated him. This was just just disgusting. Not a bad match. I give it like 2 stars, but it brought back bad memories. Then it was Bobby Lashley defeating Simon Dean. Just a fucking shit-ass squash match. I give this a dud. I wouldn't even really bother rating a squash match, but the fact they put it on pay-per-view was just mind-blowingly stupid. As per pre-match stipulation, Simon Dean had to eat 20 cheeseburgers, and you got Bobby Lashley backstage like this, like a bodyguard trying to make sure that Simon Dean eats every last hamburger, and then he ends up vomiting because he had to eat all those burgers, and that was just fucking disgusting. They didn't show him vomiting. He just ran, into the back and threw up. But, why even show this? Is this even supposed to be funny? This was it bothered me, he's eating that many burgers, that was just really fucking stupid. That was just so beyond retarded that they even, put that. I could see if it was on a Raw, but it's on a pay-per-view, and this dumb motherfuckers, very dumb. Then it was Chris Benoit defeating Booker T, Orlando Jordan, and Christian for the U.S. title. This match, I expected it to be better. It was just pretty fucking bland, really. Pretty decent at times during the match, but nothing really that stood out. It just was really just there. Just 2.5 stars. Nothing too fantastic at all. Fast paced, but really just I was kind of bored watching it. Then you had Mr. Kennedy defeating Hardcore Holly. This was beyond fucking boring. When Mr. Kennedy first came, they weren't really doing much with him. He was wrestling in random matches. And they were boring, much like this one. I liked this character. I was a big fan of the character. But, his matches, it was still pretty obvious. He was very green. a very, he had a very cool finisher off the top. But that was it. He put Corralio on his shoulders, and, it was a great finisher, but the rest of the match was fucking shit. I give it a dud, seriously, just fucking boring. Then it was JBL defeating Rey Mysterio, and I really enjoyed this match a lot. Usually big guys versus small guys, it usually looks like a disaster on paper and usually translates to a horrible match. But this time around, JBL is a different kind of big guy. He knows how to work. A very stiff, ferocious match. I liked it. A lot of intensity in this one, and I liked the finish. Rey Mysterio misses a move off the top. JBL just fucking destroys him with the clothesline from hell. 3.5 stars. Very enjoyable match. Very fast-paced, and it held my interest throughout. Then it was Randy Orton and Bob Orton defeating The Undertaker in a casket match. It was a good match. Nothing amazing once again, but I enjoyed it. Not really too sure why they had to have Bob Orton in there. The only thing he really added to was the finish with the fire extinguisher, and I guess the double superplex with Orton, with both Ortons was pretty good, because that was Bob Orton's finisher back in the day. So it was kind of cool to see them, do it as a double team move. Randy Orton ends it with the steel chair shot to the head on Undertaker, and then they lock him in the casket. Then they set that bitch on fire. Now, I know we saw that a couple of years ago, but still a pretty awesome image right there. So, yeah, enjoyable match. Just nothing, nothing really original or great. Just good. 3 stars. Then it was Juventud defeating Nunzio, and this was a good match. Cruiserweight matches in WWE. Most of them have been forgotten over time, but for the most part, I enjoyed them. Now, they didn't take as many risks as they did in WCW, but sometimes they put out a pretty good match. And this was a pretty good one. Good finish with the Hoovy does a Northern Lights, then he, all in one fluid motion, he turns it into the Hoovy driver. I give this match 3 stars, and I know that's crazy, giving this the same thing as an Undertaker match, but that just shows that you got to do really good, or the jobbers are gonna catch up to you. This was a pretty good fucking match, I think. 3 stars. Batista defeating Eddie Guerrero for the World Heavyweight Championship. This match was disappointing. Now, I know I shouldn't expect a lot from a Batista match, but, it was Eddie Guerrero, but I guess it was, it was above average, just not good. It was just kind of boring. The whole storyline with Eddie Guerrero trying to, put his cheating ways behind him and be Batista's friend. I guess it was okay, but, this was like Eddie Guerrero's last storyline before he died. And, they could have did better with him. They were really trying to, come up with, different ways to get Eddie Guerrero back on track, after he lost, the WWE Championship. But he never regained the same momentum, sadly. He was on fire when he won the world title, but then, he was in the feud with Rey Mysterio that went on for way too fucking long. And this one with Batista, it was just, this match was a bit boring, really. Nothing really exciting happened. Even when the finish came, it was just bland. He finished him with the spine buster. He doesn't even beat guys with the spine buster, but he beat Eddie Guerrero with it. 2 3/4 stars, nothing too sensational. Not bad, but not great. Just like this whole fucking pay-per-view. It was a decent pay-per-view, but very forgettable. Just really nothing worth watching the show. Just a waste of time. I guess you could check out JBL versus Rey Mysterio, but, it's not like it's an amazing match. It's just a good match. It was match of the night. But, really, it's because there wasn't really a lot of competition on this show. you know, like I said, you got a couple of 3-star matches on this card, but you know, really there should be more than that. You know, a good pay-per-view should at least have like a 4-star match on it, but there was nothing really like that. You know, I'll be generous with this one. I'll give it a 7 out of 10, like a 6.5, 7 out of 10. Let's go with a 7 out of 10. Not horrible, but nothing too fantastic. You know, I'll give it a 6 out of 10, a 6.5 out of 10 actually, because it's forgettable. Let's go with that one, motherfucker. 6.5 out of 10. 7's a little bit too much for this type of show. All right, motherfuckers, just skip this one now.